Dodge that bullet.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey everyone! Welcome to this special edition of the Eventual Knits podcast. My name is Leah, also known as Miss LJV on Instagram and Eventual on Ravelry. This is my partner, Steve.
Hello.
What is your YouTube channel?
Oh, wow. So I have a YouTube channel, which is Blinkoom, Blinkoom, that is themed around video games. And I have an Instagram, which is Game Room Blink, which is also themed around video games.
Yeah, so you will notice that we are in a special location today. We are in the game room, is what we call it. It is our game room.
It is our game room. It is our happy place.
Yeah, maybe we'll do a little tour at the end or something.
Oh, that would be fun.
It's good. So, we are having this special podcast episode because Cori Eichelberger of iRock Knits did a Q&A sort of trivia thing with her daughter. She had said it's like a questionnaire or something that's going around, but I could not find anything to that effect online. So I decided I would just make my own quiz questions and ask Steve here. It'll be a really fun mix of technical terms and general knitting questions. So get something to drink. I don't know how long this will be. I don't know if it'll be super short or super long. Steve's got his Aeolian mug.
With some delicious coffee inside.
What's Aeolian?
Aeolian is the name of the tavern from Patrick Rothfuss's Name of the Wind, which is an incredible book. And if you haven't read it, I can't recommend it enough.
The Aeolian isn't just a tavern. It is where they play music.
Fair.
Yeah. But yeah. And I am, of course, drinking out of my Zombie Knit Apocalypse mug, and it has a delicious tea in it. So, love this mug. All right.
All right, what's the first question? Hit
start?
me.
All
yeah.
right.
Let's do it.
All right. Question one. Don't cheat.
I can't cheat. I can't look at it.
Don't look. I have them all on my iPad. I typed them all out. So I will be putting these questions online for people if you'd like to use them yourself, or if you just want to look at them, or whatever. They're fun. Okay. So, question 1. What are the 2 main stitches?
Knit and purl. If
Ding,
you
ding,
if,
ding.
if you told me to visually identify them, I don't know that I could. Thankfully, we don't have any...
I wish I did have something down here.
I'm very happy that we don't. We can assume that I know everything about those 2 stitches.
I really think that'd be really fun, but the camera wouldn't be able to pick that up anyway.
That's true. But
that would be really fun.
1 for 1.
Which stitch have I had you learn how to do? That's not even on here. This is a bonus on the fly question.
I think knit, right? Yeah. Done rows on rows of knitting. Literally multiple rows of knitting.
Maybe just multiple rows of knitting. My favorite still was when you did your birthday scavenger hunt and had to. So
this is the very first time I ever knit anything in my life. This is 5 years ago, maybe.
At least.
We for birthdays have kind of a tradition of setting up a scavenger hunt for the person whose birthday it is. And they either find clues or have to solve riddles to ultimately usually lead to either a themed cake or just their presents. And oftentimes those are themed. And I don't recall the theme of that particular one. Maybe this was before the themes.
It was definitely... Oh, that might have been more of a riddle.
Yeah.
We've done some that are themed, my friends did a Friends themed birthday for me one year. World of Warcraft theme. You did Zelda.
Yeah, Zelda, Mega Man, Pokemon. We've done all kinds of them.
Yeah, but some years it's just been kind of riddles. Just riddles around the house or around the neighborhood.
But one of the clues that she gave me for one of my steps of the scavenger hunt was that I had to knit 5 stitches. And I remember it was in our garage. The clue was found like in a car. And she was upstairs waiting to give me the next clue once I figured it out. And I was down there for like way longer than 5 stitches worth of time. Because it is so hard to do your first 5 stitches.
I gave a tutorial. I didn't just tell him to do knit stitches.
And I know that like 8-year-olds learn it all the time. But it was really hard. And I still don't even think I did it right.
It was pretty good. I mean, you didn't drop any stitches, which is good. And then, I mean, I've given you your own sock before to knit on, so you haven't messed anything up irrevocably.
My knitting experience is basically, hey, I need to run to the car, or hey, I need to run to the restroom. Keep this knitting in the round going while I'm gone. And after another refresher for 2 minutes on how to actually do that, I usually can keep it going.
Progress.
Growth. All right, this is going to be
Awesome.
a nice long video after one question.
Yep, great. What is an FO?
Finished object. Easy. Give me a
Yeah.
hard one.
I'm not going to give you a hard one. I'm just going to keep going on these ones.
Okay.
What is a whip?
Work in progress.
What is an LYS?
Oh no. All my bravado comes crashing down. LYS.
I'm actually surprised you didn't get that right away.
An LYS? It is a... lots of yarn stitch.
Yarn is the second word.
Okay. Is L long?
No.
Oh, give me a hint.
It is a place you can go.
Oh. Local yarn shop.
Yeah. Okay. I might ask you to get up really quick. Will you open this stupid
I'll be
door?
right back. We have a very sad kitty that he cannot be on our laps.
He is so...
He'll
I know.
probably visit.
Yeah. They've seen him. It's the Nero. His stupid paw under the door and his dumb meows. Oh, it's Grim now.
In a twist.
There's a twist because Nero's
What a
paw.
twist. Oh, look at him. He's like
Oh
immediately...
my god.
Okay,
Yeah.
to be fair, Grim, this is the one room in the house that they're not allowed to go. Just because there's so much stuff that they could chew on and destroy.
And jump on.
And so when they know that we're in here and they're not,
Oh my god.
oh, see? They do not like it. They demand to come in because, oh my god, it's a fun, new, exciting room.
Yeah, like it's like they can be in here with supervision. They are crazy about this room, and when they're in here, they don't do anything by themselves. I mean, if we left them by themselves, they would destroy everything. But
Yeah.
oh my god!
We got an arrow here too.
All right. All right. Name 3 types of stitch patterns.
Oh, stitch patterns.
Like stitch styles.
Is like knitting in the round, does that count?
When you're knitting in the round, what kind of stitch are you making? That's what if you were doing the most basic, like what you do when you knit in the round. What type of fabric are you creating, or what kind of stitch is that?
I'm creating a really beautiful stitch.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, that's true. Circular?
You're doing
Tube? Give me one and see if I can get the other two.
I know, I'm trying to think of lace. Lace is a type of stitching.
Not different types of yarn, right?
No, not different types of yarn.
So lace and oh wow. My brain wants to say pour over, which is a type of coffee. And not a type of stitch. I might be stumped on this one. You might have to give me some.
So when you're knitting in the round, the way you're knitting in the round, you are making stockinette.
Stockinette. Oh, garter. Is the other
Garter.
one.
Yep, that's.
See?
I know.
Word
it.
association.
Yep.
And there's one that's like on the tip of my tongue. What's the one that you don't like?
Do you want me to give you the first letter?
Yeah.
R.
Reverse?
No.
What's the second letter?
I.
Ribbed? Ribbing? Ribbing.
Ribbing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, see? Cat round 2. Hey,
Yep.
buddy.
All right.
I'd say I nailed that one.
Yeah, I nailed it. Got it real good, real fast.
You really stuck to one. 10 out of 10. Judges go wild.
Okay, the next one is how many types of... Okay, so the question I wrote was how many types of yarn can you name, but that is not what I meant. What I meant was how many weights of yarn.
Okay.
What are some weights of yarn that you can name? I don't actually know if I could remember all of them at once, so I don't have like a total, like there's 8 or something. There might be 8.
Do we count mohair?
No, that's a literal type of yarn.
Okay. Fingering.
Yep.
Lace.
Yep.
Bulky.
Yep.
Super bulky.
Uh-huh.
Is sock weight?
Yeah, yes.
Sock weight, the normal weight of yarn? The regular yarn?
Normal, yeah.
Because you only knit socks.
I don't only knit socks.
Do you knit shawls in sock weight yarn?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
They can be called shawl yarn too.
Yeah.
Novelty sized. I guess that's just super bulky, huh?
Yeah. There is a like novelty yarn.
Sport. Sport weight.
Very good.
Are there any big ones that I'm missing?
Yes, there are 2 big ones that you're missing.
I'm thinking and wondering what Grimm's doing at the same time. He might be eating cobwebs. All right, hint time.
The main type of yarn is like the yarn that you can buy from like Joann's. That's just like a medium weight yarn.
Yarn weight.
It starts with a W.
Worsted weight.
Worsted. Yep.
I know that word.
And then the yarn that I knit my Cobain top in. Have you watched that podcast that talks about what weight yarn I knit that in?
Is that the most recent one?
Yeah.
Watched.
Oh, maybe I knit it in sport, but it's close to sport, but it's not sport. It's not sport. I didn't knit it in sport.
I feel like I've tapped my brain on the ones I know.
DK.
I know DK.
Like Donkey Kong. That should be the one you remember the most.
It's the one I remember the least because it blends in. I didn't know that though.
Yeah, I think those are like the big ones. Like there's light fingering. You said them out of order, so now I don't remember which ones you said. But
lace,
I think you hit the hardest hitting ones in the league.
Yeah, I got the most hardest hitting yarns in the league.
Yeah, that was good. You did good.
Yes, I did. Yeah, you did good too.
What does now? This is local. This is not actually like Yarn 101. It's local to me and our area 101. What does PEEP stand for?
Progressive East End P. Progressive East End Project?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's that? What is the Progressive East End Project?
It is there are 5 yarn shops on the east end of our city, and you choose one to go to and you get a main skein of yarn and 1/5 of a pattern within which to knit it. And do you also get a mini skein at the first one? Yeah, you do. And then you go to the other 4 and you get the other 4 pieces of the pattern and a mini skein at each of the other ones, and then you combine their powers together to make one cool project.
Yes, you said our city as if we have 5 LYSs in our one city. Where are they all located? Do you know?
Like the actual cities nearby?
What each yarn shop is located in and what yarn store names they are. Bonus question. Ding,
Bonus. Boom, boom, boom. So Knitting from the Heart in Woodbury.
Mm-hmm.
That's the like very local one to us. We have there's the 3 Kittens, which is in White Bear.
Nope.
Is it near White Bear?
No.
Oh no, 3 Kittens is the one that's in like is it South St. Paul?
It's close. It's right next to South St. Paul.
Yeah,
but it's not.
near South. It's probably one of those South St. Paul-ish towns.
Mendota Heights.
Mendota Heights. There is I know we just went to these not that long ago.
Last weekend.
I can picture the front of all of their stores. There's the one in Stillwater, which name is escaping me.
Darn it.
Darn it anyway. There is one in White Bear.
Yep.
Which is like
you probably wouldn't remember because we spent 4 seconds at it.
proof that I know some things about knitting now. My brain wants to say 2U's, which is not a yarn shop.
What is it?
A podcast.
Yeah, it's a podcast.
But it's like the Knit and Kitten.
Nope. That's Three Kittens.
I already named that one.
That one's the hardest one because I never go
Yeah,
there.
we very rarely go there. What is it?
A sheepy yarn shop.
It has a name.
That's its name.
Oh, it
yarn
is a
shop.
sheepy yarn shop?
That's
I
what
would
it's
never
called.
in my life have gotten it. So that's 4, right?
Yeah. You're missing like. So we have Mendota Heights, White Bear, Stillwater, Woodbury. Where's the last place we went?
Well, the last place we went was Knit from the Heart, but
Well, I mean, what
Yeah.
what is remaining? What's the last city we? What is?
it is. Hey, bud, do you know? Is it Maplewood?
Nope. What's the big city?
St. Paul?
Mm-hmm.
Which one is it in St. Paul?
Oh my God, we're there all the time.
It's not Stephenby.
No, it's not Stephen B. That's Minneapolis, and it's
Um,
also not on the east. I think Stephen B's in like South Minneapolis, like in terms of location. I mean, we go to Stephen B a lot. It's not that we don't, but I just don't pay attention to where it is.
All right, clue.
It's on Grand.
Oh, the Yarnery.
Yeah,
Come on, amateur hour.
I know. That's why I was laughing.
You know when the camera's on you, it's harder to get 'em.
Are you feeling the pressure?
I'm feeling
Is
the pressure.
Spotlight on you.
If I don't get my imaginary points, well, the points
So
are made
true.
up and they don't matter.
That's so true. What does frog mean?
To undo it because you're ribbing it. You rib it. You're ripping it out.
You're ripping it out.
You're
Yep.
frogging it. I did this
Frogging
bad.
it.
I'm frogging it.
I'm frogging it. What's it called when you're not this is another bonus that I didn't think about. What do you call it when you're not frogging it but you made a mistake and have to go back?
Rip it. Right?
No, that's the noise that it makes when you're frogging.
Yeah, rib it. Don't you rip back?
You can say rip back. Ripping, I think, is supposed to
Imply the whole thing.
not the whole thing, but like a big chunk of it. But like if let's say I make a mistake at the beginning of a row, and I have to go back that same row, and I'm just you see me do this a lot when I make mistakes, where I'm just going back a little at a time. I don't know if I've talked about it much.
Yeah. What is it?
That's called tinking. You're tinking back.
I have heard the word tinking before, but there's no world where I would have pulled that out of my brain.
That's fine. Again, we're just doing the technical now, and we'll do more.
Technical or fun?
That's true. What does in timeout or hibernation mean?
In timeout is when I try to talk to Leah while she's counting the number of stitches in a row. I get put into timeout.
All right. I don't know if I've ever.
I've never heard this
Yeah, I've
before.
never
Emily.
used-
Read the question one more time.
What does in timeout or hibernation mean?
I mean,
What do you think?
from
it means?
context, I would assume it's a project that you've set aside for the time being because, for whatever reason, something new and exciting came up, or
Could be.
you just, as you do, fell off your plate.
Yeah. In timeout, from my understanding, generally refers to like you come to a part of a pattern that is frustrating you or you're having difficulty figuring out. Or, for example, that silk cowl that I was working on is in timeout right now because the yarn on one of the balls is so tangly that I'm going to lose my mind. And so I'm not dealing with it right now. It's in timeout.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Oh,
Silk is insane when it tangles up. It's so impossible.
all yarn is impossible.
All right, shifting gears a little. What the way I wrote the question, I don't know how to say it the best way, but like, what types of dyeing do you know? Like, what types of yarn dyeing are there?
Oh man, there are hand dyed.
What types of hand dye?
Oh,
That's what I mean.
like color patterns and stuff.
Yeah.
There's we just had a conversation about this. What, is it auto striping or something? Self striping. Self striping. We had a conversation about self striping because
We
it
did.
confused me because there's
Shouldn't it
no
just be called
just regular striping yarn. It's only self striping. It is adding complication where there is no. So self-striping, there's whatever the, I don't know the name of it, but the type of yarn where it is not self-striping, it's more like the whole yarn has a big cool pattern in it, and then when you knit it up, that pattern just turns into something kind of random.
In a sock blank. It's like dyeing a sock blank. I don't think
Yeah.
I don't know if that has a specific name. But yeah, using a sock blank to knit up. So we saw a really cool one yesterday, actually. That was like, I don't remember who, I saw it on Instagram, I think. But where it was dyed in the Starry Night.
Oh, it was so beautiful.
It's really cool.
I mean, there are, I don't know, just like solids, regular colors, tonals. Again, you can, I don't know if there's specific types of like novelties that you want to talk about, like little sparklies and things like that.
This is where it's not dyeing, but you could put in things like using mohair or or multi-plies or single plies. Yeah. In a general broad question. The other big one I'm thinking of is pooling yarn. Variegated.
Oh, wait, are pooling and variegated the same?
No.
Okay. Those are two
variegated
different
yarn,
ones?
I guess, probably does have the opportunity to pool, but does not have to. Speckles?
Speckles, yeah.
Speckles is another one. I wrote these questions without having necessarily thought about all the answers. Just because. Yeah.
Then there are no wrong answers.
That's so true. What is my favorite yarn shop?
Your favorite yarn shop?
Yeah, not. I guess when I was making this question, I was thinking, what is my favorite store, like physical store? But I guess I would actually like to hear both, if you can think of an indie dyer that's my favorite, but also like a standing shop that exists.
My answer would have just been indie dyers in general, but do you have an actual solid favorite? So I would say Knitting from the Heart is probably where you have the most community. You know a lot of the workers there pretty well, and it's our local one. I think Stephen B probably for just like the insane selection and variety and like the ambiance of the place.
Okay, it's like yes, but also kind of no. Like the ambiance of the store itself, like Stephen B, the location, like how it's like a renovated house or whatever, like it's huge, and I love that. But the ambiance of staff constantly asking you if you need help is really stressful for me. Like and Stephen B is a really active, boisterous store, and I am not an active, boisterous person. I just want to quietly look at yarns by myself and maybe talk to somebody about it. I don't mind talking to the staff and getting for help, but I do not want in your face. At Knitting from the Heart, it is the same couple of staff. It's a very small store, but they have over the last year super revamped, and they have so many yarns, and they have crazily increased their indie dyers, which is amazing. And they, even though it's really small, it's jam packed with yarn. So yeah.
But the actual two favorite locations, I mean, wow, when you're on the spot, you can't remember the names of anything.
Well, that's okay. This isn't like a name test per se. Like, if you can describe a store, I'm cool with that. I'm just curious as to what your thoughts are.
The one that we go to all the time in Madison that also serves you food.
Sauzier?
Sauzier.
Sauzier's really
I would
good.
know Sauzier in any other context ever. Also, Yarn Circus?
Knit Circus?
Knit
Yeah.
Circus.
I love Knit Circus.
Yeah, those are the two that probably I'd say are your favorites. And I mean,
Yarn Circus is technically an indie dyer too.
Knit Circus.
Did I say Yarn Circus?
Yeah, it's Knit Circus.
Oh my god.
Yeah, and they are honestly, most of the yarn that we get from Knit Circus comes in the mail, even though we do go visit the store every now and again. Okay, so favorite indie dyer?
Yeah. Who do you think I'd like the...
This is a mean question, because
Yeah.
I don't want to throw anyone under the bus.
It's because there's so many. I mean, that's the thing. I'm just curious. I don't even know if I have a favorite. I'm just curious as to what you think, based upon maybe my purchases.
Who's the guy that made the bumblebee yarn, right? Or the red yarn that was really vibrant? What's his name?
Diaris.
Diaris. That would be my pick of the day.
DJ.
It could. Yeah. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
It could change. There's 1,000 at all times, so it's not.
I'm
just
always buying
any
yarn
one
from,
person is
from
better.
People.
better or worse?
I was just curious to see if he knew him, but yeah, Jairus Jackson Yarn, really. I know I should buy more. He's awesome. He only opened this summer. Like, he hasn't even been around that long. Yeah, good. What is, you already kind of talked about this a little bit, but what is my favorite kind of yarn?
Indie dyed yarn.
What weight?
The sock weight. The DK?
Nope. Sock
Worsted?
and
Fingering.
Yeah.
The kind that you make shawls and socks out of.
The shawls and socks and sweaters. You don't have to.
And sweaters.
Yeah. But yeah, love that yarn. I have so much of it. I think actually I officially now have so much sock yarn that it will not fit in Cubby 2.
So we're going to need to expand. Such is life.
Yeah.
I disappear while I get the cat hair out of my nose. And I'm back.
I'm constantly wiping my nose because of fibers into my nose, so.
Yeah, that's fair.
Do you think that I am a process knitter or a product knitter?
Describe what you mean.
A process knitter is someone who enjoys knitting for knitting's sake. That, like, making the thing is a reward in and of itself. A product knitter is someone who knits to get the product.
I'm going to say you're probably more of a product knitter because you love the beautiful things. But that's not to say that you don't also love the process too. But definitely the product is the winner. I mean, the product is always a beautiful thing that you love. The process is usually fun and sometimes kind of annoying because it's not working out right. So.
Yeah. It's a hard question. I mean, like, I definitely knit to make the thing. But...
Well, and there's no one could argue that you don't love the process of knitting too. Like, knitting is very much your happy place. So it's kind of like both, but if I had to pick one, I would say the product.
Same. I mean, I agree, for sure. I definitely know, like, there's some podcasts I listen to where people talk about that they make the thing just to make the thing, and if they don't like it or it doesn't fit, they just give it away, and I'm like...
No.
I have to... No, I want to love the thing. I want to love the thing, and I want to wear the thing. Like, yeah, I'm an extremely selfish knitter.
It's true. Knitting things for, like, birthdays and stuff is so painful for her. She's like... I want to work on this thing that's not even going to be in my house to look at later. I have to give this to someone.
When I think about when people are like, "Oh, I'm never going to knit this yarn. I better give it away," and I'm like, every skein of yarn I want.
These are all precious gifts, all for me.
They are
all for me.
Oh my god, I know. Knitting washcloths, torture.
Yep. Very true.
Yeah. Do you think I am a fast or a slow knitter?
Fast knitter. And I know that because you've been told that many times.
Have I?
By many people.
Okay, I'm told that by people who don't knit.
Okay, well, you're a very fast knitter from the perspective of those of us that can barely knit. Okay. But I would say that you are a fast knitter. By the comparison of, like, the people I've ever seen knitting, you are fast.
Yeah, I'd say I'm pretty fast. Yeah. I'm probably not the fastest knitter, but I'm pretty fast.
Yeah.
How good of a knitter do you think I am in the grand scheme of knitters?
Big question. I would say a pretty good knitter. If I was to, like, describe your pros and cons, your knitting bio, you are good at figuring out most types of patterns. You're good at making little adjustments along the way to make a pattern suit your needs. You are pretty quick. You very rarely ever don't, like, finish a project. You have a good eye for like what projects will look good. Your cons in your knitting bio is that you're afraid to try certain types of patterns a lot, namely things that you wear that are not shawls. So anytime that she makes, like, a sweater or something, hype her up because that's big. That's big. And
I throw a really big tantrum if I don't understand it right away.
And this might be ripping into her a little bit here, but she doesn't have that great of an eye for color compared to me. most of the time I'm picking the color combinations for projects.
I'm indecisive. I just don't know. It's the same thing. Like I think about how like everyone's like, no, anyone can. You can dye. I'm like, I'm 90% sure every single thing I knit would just turn into, or not knit, dye would turn into mud. Like,
Yeah.
I can't figure it out. Like, and I think I can figure out things that look good together, but I can't figure out what would look best together, if that makes sense. And yeah, I do really value his opinion on colors, and I want to know, like, do you think this will look good? Like, I don't know. I am really indecisive about that. And the thing is, it's not just anyone though. Like there's very few people, like, I will ask people at a store, like, if they think these color combinations go together or what, but a lot of times, since they don't know me, they don't know what I like. And so if they pick colors that I don't like, I'm just like, oh, thank you, thanks, yeah. And then I'll immediately, and then, like, I can't tell you how many times I've been at Stephen B where I will be looking at, like, a main color and then, like, 3 different contrasting colors that I want to use, and I will be texting Steve, and like people will come up and ask me multiple times if I need help, and I'll be like, I am just waiting for a text response about these yards.
5 pictures explode into my phone. Like, which one of these? Decide now.
It is. Yeah.
I got your back.
That's why you got to come with me.
Well, you know, sometimes life gets in the way.
That's true. Yeah. You do come with me.
I do. I usually do.
Yeah. What size needle do you think I typically knit with?
Like an 8 circular.
That's, I would say, an average needle, but that is not even close to the needle that I'm usually using.
Oh no!
I would say most things I knit probably are on 4s.
Oh.
On 4 circular, sometimes 4, 5, or 6. Like that's usually like shawls.
Okay. Just the other day, I'm pretty sure you had. No, maybe you did have me grab a 4 off the wall. In my brain, it was an 8.
It's a 4. And socks are knit on 1s.
Yeah.
Or smaller.
Little tiny needles don't count for socks, but yeah. Okay.
And I might have had you grab an 8 the other day because of the washcloth. The washcloth requires an 8.
Yeah, it was whenever
But
we
I
were
hate
at Stephen B.
Yeah, it was a 4.
Okay. It was a 4. Like I said, 4 circular.
Half of 8.
Yeah. 2 4s.
Yeah, there you go.
A 4 on each side of the circle.
How many whips am I usually working on?
Infinity.
Think so?
No. At any given time, probably 4 to 5, maybe. Like, I don't know the names of any of them, but like right now we have the beautiful purple and gray one. Shawl.
Diamond Duality shawl.
Yep. You've got the like colorful lacy one that you're working on.
Wait.
Lace pattern, not lace yarn, right?
What was the first one you said then?
The purpley gray one.
That's the lacy one.
What's the yellowy one?
Oh, mermaid scarf. Mermaid
Is
shawl
that lacy?
scarf. Yep.
Okay.
That is lacy. You're right. It's just because I'm working on the lace part of the Diamond Duality, so I wasn't sure if you were referring to. Yeah.
You are in the middle of working on a pair of socks for Sock Week, and
Pair of socks, yeah.
we have the weather scarf.
Weather not scarf. Yep. That's gonna take me all year, so I'll always be working on that.
Yeah. Those feel like the main ones that you're working on. You've been teasing washcloths for a while. I don't know if you actually properly started that.
I do. I'm halfway done with that one washcloth. I still haven't started or continued because I was busy at work. So usually like not more than 1 shawl at a time, maybe a couple scarves. I am working on Morrigan's gloves kind of, but they're also in kind of timeout. Not because I'm having a problem, other than maybe running out of yarn, and I don't want to face that fact.
Yeah. But it is kind of usually one of each type, right? Like it's usually a shawl, a pair of socks, probably a scarf of some kind,
maybe a garment.
And then like a flex spot.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, I think that for me that's a really good number because I need to have something that I need to like focus on at home. I need to have at least 1, hopefully 2 that I can take any given place, car trip knitting.
Yeah, and usually kind of have like they either are assigned to different spots. Like this is good for the car. This is good for watching something at home. This is good for at work, or there are usually 1 or 2 that are like main priorities.
Yeah.
like these are like my 2 active projects, and then like the weather scarf that needs to happen all year, or like this is my thing I work on when I need a break from the other ones, or whatever it might be.
Yeah. I do try not to get into like I would say that if I start something, I'm going to finish it. Like I'm not going to start something and then let it languish for 6 years. Like I mean, I've been working on the mermaid shawl for like a year and a half, but it's not because I keep. It's just that I do a row here or there while I'm at a place, and then whatever. Like I'm gonna finish it. Like it's not like I've got bored of it or whatever. What's my favorite thing to knit? You can interpret that however you want.
Shawls made out of indie dyed yarn.
That's good. Yeah. I also really like knitting socks for myself. Both of those.
That's true now. So I'm averaging across all time, and shawls have always been fun. Socks were only fun once we became confident about the heel. There was a time where socks were stressful. So
I don't remember that.
It happened.
It was so funny.
But yeah, now you do love socks.
I started toe up too.
Socks are like your comfort knitting. Like if we just need to, after a long day of work or whatever, just sit and kind of crash, play a game or we watch a show. Socks are usually the thing that she goes to.
Because I can do them any kind of way.
Yeah.
Which is nice.
Yep.
Yeah, it's good. I don't have to look at a pattern. I can make one up, or there's a few that I have memorized, like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Cool. What's my least favorite thing to knit?
Garments.
I don't like knitting garments. I just
So it would be garments that are a gift for someone.
Yes.
Made out of Joanne yarn. Made out of Red Heart yarn.
Ooh, savage Red Heart. Yeah, that's funny. I would say washcloths. I hate cotton yarn.
That's true. Although,
but yeah,
just recently you had like your.
I know.
You did your.
I know.
I should learn to not hate washcloths.
Yeah.
So I'm not trying to bring that negative negative energy back into your life.
Oh, okay, that's very true. What is my favorite thing that I've ever knit?
Ever? Oh man. Do you have an answer for this?
No. There's a couple things that I could list.
I would say
Do you want
probably the lollipop crop top. It was lollipop, right? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I would say that was one of them that you were most proud of. I hope your socks that you made for me.
They're there, but they're before I got.
Oh, the goldfish memory shawl. Yeah. But also the companion cowl.
So the second question is, what is your favorite thing that I've ever knit?
My favorite, well, definitely your socks for me.
I wasn't sure if you'd say the Mughal wall hanging.
The Mughal wall hanging too, or my scarf. My Final Fantasy scarf. Probably the scarf is my answer. I don't know if they've ever come up, but yeah. She does some very awesome duplicate stitch nerdy scarves. Those are like the one gift that she is okay giving up to people.
That's true.
Because they're very specifically designed for people.
I've become less okay with it as I've become more selfish about my knitting. I don't know if I have a picture. I think I might have deleted it because the picture was wonky. Yeah, but I do. Yeah, one of the coolest things it was when the first year Steve and I were dating. I knit him. My first foray into duplicate stitch was knitting him a scarf with Final Fantasy 8-bit characters on it, and it's still one of my proudest things. And I used to sell scarves online of geeky characters and stuff like that. I haven't in a while, but I'm really good at duplicate stitch.
Yeah, so if I wasn't picking a favorite that you made for me, which is almost cheating, probably the Day of the Dead gloves. Those are so cool. The like mystery. The
mystery knit along that Stephanie Lotvin Telly B Knits does every year. Those ones are so good. That is probably one of my favorite things. But the lollipop crop was like one of the it was really hard for me to pick because I actually I love everything I make for myself because I only make things that I like. So I was just curious as to what that was. There's so many good things.
There are so many good things.
No wrong answer.
So many beautiful projects.
What do our friends and family think of my knitting?
They love it and they think it's funny. They love it and they're impressed by it, and They think it's funny because it's like inseparable from you as a person. So it's like, Leah's gonna be knitting, or like you're at dinner or you're at a movie or whatever, and Leah's gonna pull out her knitting.
People ask me like, "Where's your knitting?"
Yeah,
if
why
I don't
aren't you knitting? Are you okay?
Yeah,
do you
it is
feel
literally, "Are you
ill?"
okay?" Yeah.
But everybody is incredibly impressed and entertained by it.
And I have knit most of our friends' scarves.
Yeah, I would say most of our friends and family have received something as a reward for being friends with the knitter, so I think it worked out. Oh, I know Nero loves the knitting. Nero, come on, buddy.
What's the most annoying thing I do with knitting?
Well, for me, the most annoying thing anyone can do is be annoyed. So the most annoying thing you do is probably get annoyed at knitting. Probably, if I was going to pick one, counting a row before telling me that you're counting a row. So
Which is always.
Which is 100% of the time. I've never been told. I've never been pre-warned. So it's not like she forgets. But it's you ask a question or you make a joke and you turn around and then you see her like, and then she goes, oh, like I lost count. Why did you interrupt me? It's like, I didn't know. You didn't warn me.
What about yarn scraps, yarn balls, yarn projects?
That's just my life. I forget what it's like to not live in a messy, in a room that doesn't look like a yarn bomb exploded in it. Oh my God, there's yarn everywhere, and project bags everywhere, and needles everywhere. There's probably 10 needles in our couch cushions right now.
Still, two of my favorite yarn stories are the time where I was somewhere and Steve sent me a video of this guy.
This naughty boy.
I had a small yarn ball that was just leftovers from a project, and Nero decided for 5 minutes that he was a kitten and knocked the yarn ball so everywhere, and then ran off with it. Did he go upstairs?
Yeah, he was downstairs in our living room, and he saw that I saw that he had it in his mouth, so he took off. He ran all the way upstairs. We live in a split level, and he ran around through the kitchen and then into our bedroom, which is literally the longest A to B path you could take in our entire house. And he only stopped because he ran out of yarn, because the ball had 100% unwound. And I assume there was a moment where it was so taut around all the house and fixtures and stuff that he probably yanked his neck or something. And so I sent a snap of it. And I assume the other one is the one of you, similar story in Level Up?
Yep.
Yeah, so where she walked into a game store when we were out shopping for games and dropped her yarn ball and didn't notice it and walked all the way across the store and then turned around and had this huge trail of yarn. And so she had to do the wrap of shame as she walks back and rewinds it back up.
Oh my God, it was so embarrassing.
We got that one on video too.
Oh, that was really good. So good. Yeah.
But no, those instances don't annoy me because it's too funny.
Those aren't even those are embarrassing, but those are not, the Nero one's not embarrassing, but that one's embarrassing, but it's not nearly as embarrassing as when I was a teacher. How many times, and in an airplane, how many times I've dropped yarn balls and they have rolled under people's seats and everything, and trying to get that yarn ball. Oh my God, on an airplane and on a bus.
And you can't pull it because it just unwinds it more.
Yeah.
It is an impossible task.
It is.
Always good for me every time. What up? Welcome to our game room. This is our game room. You can't see, but it's 360 games, GameCube games, some Wii games. We've got some Super Nintendo, PSP. This is Vectrex. Up here we've got more PSP. Down here we have Nintendo 64. Over here, Sega Genesis. And there's more all around us. Maybe she'll give you a tour. I would say I'm doing pretty good on this quiz, right? I mean, most of these I've pretty much nailed. And I have to imagine I'm taking the gold. I mean, who's going to do as well as me? If you didn't know any better, you'd think I was a knitter. Because I'm basically answering these questions better than she would for herself. We're back.
All right.
We never went away.
No, we didn't. It's just gonna cut. It's just gonna cut to a start. We kind of answered this a little bit. Do you like to come yarn shopping with me?
I love to come yarn shopping. All the people are really friendly, and all the yarn is really beautiful. And as we mentioned before, you need help picking out colors, because sometimes that is an area of challenge for you. And yeah, it's a ton of fun. I'll go anytime.
Yeah, I know I talked about this on a podcast, but I will never stop bringing it up. He is brave enough even to go to a yarn store and pick out yarn for me to knit with. Like, I'm not saying like, congratulations, a man can do a thing. Like, it's definitely not like that. It's more just like, if you're not super familiar with a hobby, it's just the thing is like, I'm sure most people watching this have family members who will just bring them random balls of yarn and be like, you can make a thing with this, right? You know, and I think it takes actual, like, paying attention to the hobby and skill to be able to go into a yarn store and think, hey, she's really going to like this yarn.
Yeah, it's sad, too, because I do so much garage sailing. And there's so much yarn at garage sales, but it's not good yarn. Don't want to knit with that yarn.
No.
So, you got to have an eye for quality.
For me, to be clear, I am quite picky about yarn.
Well, and you just really like supporting indie dyers, which is just
Very
never
true.
going to show up at a garage sale or a thrift store. So.
Yeah. And I don't have, like, I, like, really give props to people who can go to, like, a Savers or whatever and find either a hand knit sweater or a sweater that you're sure that you can undo it. Like, that's just, like, not how my brain works, and it's just not a strength of mine.
Wow.
What
a skill.
Yeah. So, but yeah. Do I buy too much yarn?
No. You buy a lot of yarn. A lot. But not too much yarn. We are in fun competition because, as you'll see, we have an enormous room of games, and we have, as you've seen in other podcasts, an enormous wall of yarn. And so every day there's a competition to see who got more packages in the mail. Was there more yarn or more games that came in that day? So I would not say you buy too much yarn. I mean, you buy more yarn than you'll ever have time to knit in your life.
Don't say that.
Something exceeds life life expectancy.
Beyond is it
It's like backlog or stash exceeds.
Stash, yeah. Stable. Stash.
Yeah.
I can't remember now either.
It's definitely beyond life expectancy. Stash.
Yeah, stable. Oh, because it's STA for stash. Stash beyond life expectancy. Or stash accumulation beyond life expectancy. No, I might knit all the yarn.
I believe her. She will.
I need to knit all the yarn. Hey, and me knitting with yarn is like such an improvement. Okay, I was the kid who grew up collecting like beads for like making bead animals, and I never used my favorite beads because it was like, oh no, the perfect project. And I know that a lot of knitters like feel that way. I don't feel that way. I just want to make the thing that I know I'm gonna love with the yarn. Like, I'm not worried that I'm gonna pick a project that's not good enough for the yarn, if that makes sense. Like, I'm like, no, I'm gonna love it because I picked this thing out that I love, that I want to make, and I love this yarn, so obviously they're gonna work out together. But I have to knit with it. I can't. Oh my god, I can't even.
I think the problem is that new beautiful yarn comes out every day, and you're not going to stop buying the beautiful yarn.
Instagram is such like so hard.
I know, it's impossible.
There's so many good indie dyers. I want to support them all.
But no, I've changed my mind. You'll do it.
Good, thank you. Dodge that bullet.
Yeah, exactly.
Who is your favorite podcast to listen to with me? This is listening specific.
So, only audio podcasts?
You're gonna answer both.
Is there going to be another question? just listening.
If any. I mean, I don't know. Maybe you don't. Do you want me to list? Probably don't want to list.
No, maybe Curious Handmaid?
With Helen Stewart?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably Curious Handmaid.
I really like that one too. That one's good.
That's a good one.
There's also, like, there are certain podcasts that I just don't end up listening to around Steve because they're shorter or they come out less frequently, and so then I just end up listening to them by myself. So there's probably even a couple that you don't ever hear.
Yeah. 2 U's is...
Yeah, and see, they're kind of inconsistent lately. But yeah, cool. Just curious.
Mm-hmm.
And what is your favorite podcast to watch with me?
Probably Kalisha.
Quirky Monday. So we listen to podcasts in the car, especially during we carpool to work, and so during rush hour, we listen to knitting podcasts and gaming podcasts depending on our moods.
Yeah, it's random.
Yeah.
Sometimes music, but usually podcasts.
Or like if I'm making something that's gonna take a while upstairs, I'll probably put on a podcast. But I listen to video podcasts a lot more often, I would say.
Yeah, we both kind of operate in have a podcast on in the background at most times of your life. So one of the two of us usually has a podcast going, and it's just kind of dependent on, I don't know, the changes in the weather or random moods or whatever it might be. Yeah. Sometimes it's like who has a bigger backlog of podcasts that needs to get caught up. But there's always something playing in our house.
I thought for watch you might say, I assumed you'd say Kalisha, but I also thought you might say Sweet Tea No Shade.
Oh, Sweet Tea No Shade! They're so good!
It's because they only put one out every 3 months.
I know, I can't choose. So that would be, it's a perfect tie.
It's perfect.
Perfect tie, yeah. Oh
that's good.
But again, that's, while you're grabbing the other question, that's another one where there are 1,000 and they're all good.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing. I can't imagine this one.
The one that we met, I met her in person and I'm already forgetting.
Cori?
Outside the yarn van?
Heather.
Yeah.
Bunnyfish.
Hers is good too. I like hers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're all good. I know, they're all good.
I know. There's like 1,000 I'm not naming. I feel so bad.
Based on my purchasing choices, what is my favorite color?
Based on your purchasing choices?
Yeah,
Ooh.
so not necessarily in life, maybe, but like, what's my favorite color to knit with, maybe? I'm not sure. However you want to interpret it is fine with me. I'm just curious.
Probably like beautiful blues. And
like this kind of blue? Or like Sonic kind of blue?
More like a teal kind of blue, I think. Like a green blue.
Cyan, maybe?
Yeah.
Or something. Yeah.
But a nice rich purple is also very strong. Not as many of those.
Is that my favorite color or your favorite color?
That's my favorite color. I also picked up the colors for the purple shawl that you're knitting.
That's very true. You did.
Yeah.
So I guess that might answer the next question. It's the second to last question.
Oh my gosh.
What's your favorite color to see me knit with? It's been an
hour. I don't think I have a preference for a favorite color for you to knit with. I'm just happy to see you knit. But purple.
Yeah, purple. Yeah. What do you love most about me as a knitter?
That it is something that you're very enthusiastic and passionate about. And, like, very engaged with. Like, one of my favorite things in life is when people have something in life that really excites them, that, like, shows the spark, that lights the spark inside them, right? That there's something that they're excited to talk to you about, they're excited to share with the world, they're excited to talk to other people about. Like, it just creates an energy that the world needs, and knitting is that thing for you, which is very good to watch.
That is very true, and I'm a person who likes a crazy ton of variety, or like I don't think fickle is a good way to describe me. I think it's more like new is always better.
Yeah.
Just in life, but like knitting is like a thing that sustains me, and it's probably because there's so much variety within knitting. Like I don't ever
Yeah.
get bored. I can't even imagine a time in my life since I started knitting in like, I mean, okay, I started knitting in 2007, and then but it was like fits and spurts until I started feeling more comfortable with it. But like let's say like 2013, right, is when like it hit, and yeah, there's so much variety. Like I'm never bored ever.
No, you love it so much.
Yeah, I do love it so much. Can you think of any questions that I didn't cover? I feel like I did a pretty good job coming up with questions. Aren't those fun?
Those were fun, and they quickly became ones that didn't have wrong answers, which is nice.
I couldn't think of like a lot of technical questions.
No, actually, the ones that do have right and wrong answers are fun too, because it like lets me test my knowledge. But no, that's everything. Knitting is very good. Everybody should knit.
They should, including you.
I am a knitter. I've knit many rows, as you learned earlier.
That's very, very true. Very true. All right. Well, thank you so much for coming to my little Q&A, my little trivia sesh. I really enjoyed having you here, and you're a really good sport with the questions.
You have to be a good sport. It was fun.
I know. I know.
Thank you for inviting me onto your podcast. I can't wait to continue to live with
you. All right, well, that's it for us. We got a cool 1 hour. It'll be a little slightly less after editing, but yeah, so this is Steve. You can see a big reason why we have such a good relationship, because of supporting hobbies. But yeah, all right, well, thanks, guys. I will put the questions up if you would like to do them yourself with, Cori Eichelberger did them with her daughter, but she also, I think, was going to do them with someone else that she knows. Like if you want to do it with your partner or a friend or someone who's just frequently in your life, I would love to see that, because it's just fun to watch people do trivia stuff. Yeah, so I'll put the questions on and I'll share it on Instagram, and yeah, just let me know, tag me so I can see them, and yeah, otherwise we'll see you again soon.
Bye.
Bye.